it will actually pull cells off your fingers, and eventually it will get rid of the tackiness. When you're done with these pads, you want to put them back on the plastic, put them back on the plastic on the same side, and don't alternate sides, and try and minimize the amount that you're touching that part, because they do dry out. If your pads dry out, try putting a little water on them before you put them back in. And you need to put them in the plastic bag and zip it closed, because they will dry out. And then once they dry out, they don't stick anymore. All right, so we're just going to use the 2 pads for now. And I'm going to start with a high rate. So I'm going to put it up to 140, and I'm going to use a more narrow width. So this is more like conventional tins. Okay, so I want to get a sensory level only. So I'm going to turn it up. And she's going to tell me when she's using. And what does it feel like? My goodness. So you can get muscle with this if you turn it up high enough. Okay. If I change and make the pulse width a little wider, and if I narrow the pulse width, because it's responding to the total current in the tissues. If I make the pulse frequency very low, versus higher. Why isn't it changing? That again. Now it's on. So you'll see the changes now. Okay, so this is, can you see the twitch? If I put it on, and I narrow this. Okay, so I can get, so by manipulating the pulse width and the frequency, now if I put it at a very low frequency, there's a little cutout, but evidently it's not the cutout, it's the other side. Interesting. So this is high frequency. Can you see it? I'm going to turn it up a little bit. See how it's beating? And then now, if I put it, no, sorry, that's high. See how you can see it now? And then if I go back up, goes to, and that's tetany right there. Okay, and if I back off, you'll see the beat again. This is more twitches. Twitch, tetany. Okay, sumacs. We really don't want to, now I'm going to leave it there and just hit modulate. See if she feels a difference. Yeah, so it's modulating the frequency a little bit so that she wouldn't adapt to it. And then I'm gonna, now burst is like a preset setting in this, so you really, so that's burst. It's a high frequency and it bursts it at a low frequency. And again, that's endogenous release. Okay. All right. Now, does it hurt? Is the tingling sensation a little irritating at all?
Yeah, no. Yeah. I've done it before.
Oh, you've done it before. Who has never done it? Okay, so you have to kind of get past the tingling to get the muscle contraction. It's a little scary at first, but once you feel it, once you get past that tingling and it dives down deep enough to get the muscle contraction, the tingling isn't as bad. But initially it's like, don't go up any higher, I don't think I can take it, but it doesn't keep getting worse. You start to get a muscle contraction and it stops. And once you feel that, most of the time people want higher and higher. But you do need to feel it if you're going to do it to somebody. Okay? So TENS. Again, pulse width and frequency. In your book there is a table under electrical modalities for pain. You're going to follow the settings in that table. Okay? That's what I'm going to test you on. Okay, so there's conventional TENS, there's burst TENS, there's low rate TENS. Okay? So it tells you pulse width. It doesn't match exactly to this unit because that's really made for larger units, but you get as close as you can. Okay? On a practical, I give you the parameters that you need to do. You just need to be able to place the pads appropriately and turn it up to the correct level safely. Okay? With these units, be really cautious because sometimes it's hard to tell, just like I can't tell where's the pulse, it's like they're small, it's hard to read, so don't turn it up instead of turning it off. So really learn which way the arrow means up and off, because we actually did have a student turn someone up on a practical. And they let out a little scream because it startled them. It's not enough to kill you because it's just a battery, but it did startle them, and then of course they had to. You can't send them out that way. You can use 4 pads with this, so I could put one here and one here, so that I'm crisscrossing the joint in all directions. Again, there's no interference here because this is not 2 different frequencies. They just blend in the tissues. Okay. So this is a low frequency pulsed current. Okay. So now there are only 2 TENS units. So let's get like 8 people with the 2 units. And I don't know why one is missing. Let's see if I can find it. Another electrode. And then I'm going to show people interferential and premodulated.
Go ahead and take these off.
Oh, well, you can leave it on so other people can. Are we missing the